So it is officially back to school season, and that is why I want to share with you my high school art portfolio and my tips and tricks of how I put it together, how I got into the school that I am in right now. So right now I'm going to Carr University of Art and Design, and it is a pretty well-known school here in Canada, I guess. I didn't want to leave Vancouver very much, and so I decided to stay here, and this was pretty much the only art and design university here. So I'm currently going into my 4th year, and I've been in university for 3 years now. And this portfolio would be around 4 years old. Wow, that's a very long time. I only use this portfolio to apply to one school, and I got in, thankfully, but you know, naive 16-year-old Dory thought that she could just mosey her way around the world and go into any art university that she wanted to. But let me tell you, the advice that I would give you guys is to apply to different universities, unless you're really keen on one single university and that's the only one that you want to get into. If you're pretty liberal with your options, then I would say just play around with your options a little bit. The school that I applied for, they had a general arts program, and so unlike a lot of the other schools like Cal Arts or RISD, where they'd want you to maybe narrow your art portfolio more towards the specific field that you want to be in, Carr wanted you to really show your range of work and creativity. And so Carr required you to produce 10 pieces of work maximum. I started my portfolio pretty late, so the application deadline was in February, and I started making everything in November. I had a few pieces beforehand just to help me out a little bit, but I did make everything quite in a rush, and so another thing that I would suggest you doing is to really start thinking about your portfolio maybe in your last year of high school, and not to push it off until November like I did. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you my first piece of work. This is her. Yeah, that is me in 12th grade, senior year. And I guess the idea behind this was to really just showcase myself and express myself and my personality, and to do that in a really fun and light way. And so I think I kind of achieved that with all the rubber duckies in the background, and I called this one Duck Face. So yeah, there's that one. The next one I want to show you is a digital piece, and since I did submit everything digitally, I don't have everything on hand right now. And so this one is of Ophelia, and I would say that this is pretty reminiscent of my last year in English. We did study Shakespeare, and so I wanted to represent that in an art form. It is a pretty detailed drawing, I would say. It is a fine liner. It took me ages. I think it was really just me trying to explore different types of media, and wanting to show the contrast of life and death, of the lifelessness of Ophelia in water, surrounded by flowers and life, and how that contrast just makes for a somewhat eerie effect. The next piece is this big boy over here. It is pretty large, as you can see, and detailed. It is a colored pencil and marker fine liner mixed media sort of concoction, and it's trying to tell a story about nature versus humans in our society today, and trying to really emphasize the chaos of climate change around us and how a lot of it can go by unseen. If you look closer, there are a lot of people walking on the streets, unwavered by the chaos around them and unaware or ignorant of those issues. That one is a pretty heavy piece. I'd say I'm pretty proud of it, and yes, you do need a few bigger pieces that you're more proud of in your portfolio. Not every single piece has to be like that. Some pieces can just show off your technique, and the other ones should really be a reflection of your creativity. Going back to a few of the more technical pieces, I have two still life drawings. The first one is of donuts, because I used to work at a donut shop, and that was my all-consuming life at one point, because you can never have enough of them. And the other one is a very simple still life drawing with oil pastels. Next up, we have this one. This one I made at the beginning of the school year, and it is watercolors. It is a watercolor piece of a lady in water. I guess I can sort of say that it was inspired by The Little Mermaid, and I just really wanted to use watercolor to show the flow and how dynamic the movement of the water is around her. And the very last piece, in addition to the previous pieces I talked about, is an artwork that I made specifically for this portfolio. So part of the portfolio requirements of Emily Carr is to produce an artwork based around a theme that they would suggest to you. And so the theme that I chose amongst three of them is called Transform, which is essentially to produce an artwork that would tell a story of transformation. And so my transformation comes in three parts. The first two being this. So as you can see, it is pretty detailed. Like a lot of my other works, I tend to spend a whole lot of time on it because apparently I have a lot of time on my hands. And so I have intricately colored and cut out every single different piece in this artwork and glued it onto the page. The first one, as you can tell, is a heart. It is sort of a blackened heart, and the heart later on opens up to reveal a city inside of it. And the city will later look like this, which is in the third piece, a much bigger piece. I kind of gave up on coloring it, but I think it does add to the piece and its story. It is a city in ruins, essentially. And so this story of transformation is again on the topic of environmentalism and really connecting it to humans and how pollution and climate change can affect humans in their health and in their heart. And so that is what I did for my final piece. I would say that it really was like the cherry on top of everything else. And that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed looking through my art portfolio, and if it helped you in any sort of way or inspired you to make your own portfolio, if you are applying to art school in the near future, I wish you the best of luck. And if you have any questions, let me know. I would love for everybody to join me in art school. So yeah. Stay tuned for more videos on my art channel and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!